Users, particularly those with administrative rights, whether full or governed by role-based access and least privilege policies, can unintentionally introduce vulnerabilities to endpoints that attackers often exploit. When these attacks are detected, selecting an appropriate response mechanism can be challenging. The options range from a precise, targeted approach to address the specific issue detected, which can feel like a game of whack-a-mole as attackers pivot and require close attention to follow-on activity, to a more drastic measure of full isolation. These response mechanisms can be a significant challenge for the security team due to the complexity and potential consequences of their actions. Full isolation, while effective in containing threats, will result in a denial of service to the end user, disrupting business operations. This introduces an apprehension to use full isolation unless there is high confidence in the detection. When the confidence in the detection is low, the team needs to conduct further investigations to verify the threat, which can delay the response. This delay allows the attack to progress and potentially cause more damage, making it a delicate balance between acting swiftly and ensuring accuracy in threat detection. By integrating CyberArk Endpoint Privilege Manager, EPM, into existing response mechanisms, we tackle the challenge head-on. EPM allows us to dynamically restrict a user's administrative privileges when needed. This proactive approach helps stop attacks before they gain traction. It's a great example of how EPM and EDR work better together, not just by sharing logs for review, but by actively enhancing protection. Let's dive in and see it in action. This is Simon, one of Megacorp's developers. His role requires administrative rights on his workstation. Here, we see Simon elevating an application on demand without any further checks to verify that he is who he claims to be. This is actually quite a common and desirable state when all is well, as Simon is not impeded by what can feel like overly burdensome security measures. However, when suspicious activity is detected on his endpoint, this approach is no longer appropriate, and we now need to place some checks and balances on his administrative rights to ensure there isn't an attacker impersonating him or inheriting his permissions via a malicious payload. We can dynamically enforce these restrictions by equipping the detection solution with simple, on-demand workflows that can inform policy enforcement in EPM. To illustrate this, we will simulate a common attack step disabling user account control to gain unchallenged administrative access. This activity is captured by Megacorp's detection system. Upon detection, the EDR automatically executes a playbook appropriate to the detected event, preventing sensitive tools and functions from being elevated and requiring MFA for all other elevations. It then sends the instruction to CyberArk EPM for enforcement. Simon is still able to continue working, but now with more appropriate controls in place based on the suspected condition of his endpoint. These controls will remain in place until the investigation concludes. Once the incident is resolved, Simon's admin rights are reinstated, allowing him to resume his work without restrictions, having experienced only minimal disruption while the suspected attack was contained and investigated. In our next illustration, we will simulate a more severe attack step, harvesting credentials. This is a common attack step, especially if the compromised user lacks the necessary permissions to progress the attack or has more restrictive mechanisms in place to control when and how they use their admin rights. For this example, we will use an alternate workflow where the incident is captured, allowing the team to evaluate the threat and choose the appropriate response. After evaluating, further investigation is needed, but as an interim control, a playbook is executed instructing EPM to restrict Simon from using any admin rights or executing any higher-risk profile applications. Simon is still able to continue working with trusted apps and with standard user rights, but any attempts to elevate will be prevented until the investigation is complete. Once the incident is resolved, Simon's admin rights are reinstated, allowing him to resume his work without restrictions, having experienced only minimal disruption while the suspected attack was contained and investigated.